Awesome. Okay, so this is my friend Trey Watson. Trey Watson, how long have you been in real estate?
8 years.
8 years.
Almost 8 years.
All with KW?
I was with a different company for the first 2.
And then you
6
moved
with
over?
KW now. This is my 6th year with KW.
Oh, wow. Okay. What is the, I didn't say that out loud, so I'm not taking credit for that. So if you had to talk to yourself, your first year in real estate, with everything you know today, what would you say? What advice would you give yourself?
Take it more seriously.
Okay.
Take everything more serious. Practicing, getting better at stuff.
Mhm.
I was very focused on, I was also 23, so I was excited to go to the bars and be on the golf course and stuff. However, and I had a blast doing that. However, setting myself up for success better would be turning it on and taking it seriously, more serious, more sooner.
Gotcha.
That's correct grammar.
And, well, sure. And you were kind of raised in real estate, right?
No, actually, everybody
was your-
thinks that.
Your dad did not?
Dad's
Okay.
only been in it for like 10 years.
Okay,
So
so
since I was like getting out of high school, so I actually didn't know anything about real estate ever.
that's interesting.
Yeah,
I thought
but
you'd
it's
been
a
in it much
common-
longer.
Common,
Misconception.
Yep.
Okay. Well, very cool.
Mhm.
Very excited for you today. Trey is awesome. He knows so much about real estate in general. He is also on our wealth committee for our ALC. And when I have questions about investments or sellers or anything like that, I always go to Trey. So super excited for you to be here today.
thank you. for
Thank
having
you.
me.
All
Thanks
right.
for letting me. Okay, what are we doing here? When was seller? How do I make this work? Oh, that's the other one, isn't it?
Is it on?
I don't know.
Is the button on?
Yeah, it's on.
This one?
There you go, now it's working.
This way. Now you can click.
Why did it go there? Okay,
What are you doing?
Looking for a plug-in?
I don't know.
Stop it.
I don't think there's any.
I
No,
thought there was one like right here.
I don't think
Did it just
so.
go right?
Yes, right click.
I've
Okay.
always looked and I could never
There's
find
none.
it.
Whole-
Yes,
Right
they're
there?
on that
Oh, are they
side.
back here?
All the outlets are on that side.
Found
Yeah.
it.
There you go.
You lied.
Over there.
He's complained for 3 weeks.
There's no outlets. Are you good?
Okay, I think we're good. Yeah, we're just gonna let Justin finally get settled.
Oh,
It's totally his fault.
So, yeah. We're just waiting on you. I'm just kidding.
I'm free.
Okay, like you said, I'm Trey. Can we, do we have people online?
Yeah, we got two.
Kristen and Tammy.
Kristen and Tammy, yeah.
Okay, well, you guys, let's go left to right. You guys tell me your names and how long you've been in real estate.
Erin Kennedy,
Okay.
since September of 21.
Okay, perfect. That's awesome that you guys have signs. I know you, but go ahead and say it.
Justin Johnson, September of 21.
Okay,
Jocelyn Wynn, 6 months.
okay, perfect.
Clayton Carson, about a month and a half.
Good.
Carrie Center, as a licensed real estate agent 2 years, but I did it corporately for 20.
Yeah, very good.
Corey Jet.
6 months.
Okay, I think I met all of you guys. So Kristen and Tammy, welcome. I see you online. We are gonna get going. Okay, so the way that I typically teach Ignite is, I don't know if it's like everybody else or not, but we typically kind of blow through the slides and then I want to have like real life conversations about what struggles you guys are facing. We'll cover all the material. I don't mean to make it sound like we're just gonna disregard it, but I want to talk about what you guys are actually dealing with and what you need help, because it's not always what's in here. Is that okay? Okay. Will you guys, I also need your right hands raised in the air, and I need you to solemnly swear that you're gonna participate vocally today. Can I get a
Our class
yes?
is freaking
Yes.
awesome. We
Okay,
totally-
that's what I've heard. I've heard you guys are awesome, and that we might actually go this whole time on it. So everybody good? We're gonna participate? Yes?
Yes.
1, 2, 3, yes?
Yes.
Very good. Okay, so we are talking about win the seller today. Obviously, I feel like that kind of speaks for itself. We're talking about dealing with sellers in this market, in the market that we've been in the past 3 years. It's a whole different ballgame than when I got started, because we were coming out of a crash. Right now, we're actually coming out of the complete opposite. And it was super, super crazy. We're still seeing that craziness, but we're trending the other way. So what we're gonna talk about, sellers, and we're gonna be able to classify sellers at the end of this. We're gonna talk about getting the appointment, a pre-listing packet, listing appointment, listing agreement, recaps and ahas, and daily success systems. Are you guys doing that Are you guys doing the daily success system where you're writing your letters and doing all that stuff? Are you doing it on your own or are you doing it in class? Okay, so I don't have to sit here and watch you guys write letters, right? Cool, that would be weird. Okay, quote from Gary Keller. This is in the MREA. Who has read the MREA?
Half of it.
Okay, perfect. So we got,
I'm reading it.
you're reading it. Have you started it? Have you thought about starting it?
Yeah.
Can you read okay?
Yeah.
Okay, I can't and I got through it, so you'll be fine. While leads are vital to your sales business, seller listings are critical to your ability to build it to its highest level with the lowest cost and highest net. That means net profit. That means the most money in your pocket. I'm serious when I say I'm gonna blow through this stuff. So if you guys, I might be looking at the computer. If you have a question, just start talking and I will stop. Don't raise your hand because I'm probably not gonna see you and then we're gonna get to it and you're gonna forget your question. Just start talking and interrupt me. Okay, we're talking about a qualified seller. So typically what we're talking about when we talk about leads, have you guys heard about classifying or qualifying leads before? We've talked about that, right? So we know essentially what an A, B, and C level client is going to be. So a qualified seller is someone who's willing to list and do business in the next 14 days. Me personally, I would classify a B seller as somebody who's going to do business in the next 6 months. And that's kind of a bigger time frame jump. We go from 14 days to 6 months. C sellers are kind of not out of sight, out of mind. We still have to talk to them, but they're going into our 36 touch program and we're not going out there to worry about getting contractors lined up or pictures taken or whatever it is. If we've got somebody that's wants to move in the next 6 months, we need to start thinking about what we need to do to get them ready for the next 6 months, right? If we've got major projects or whatever it might be. An A qualified seller is going to be a seller that you do not have to make any repairs. All they have to do is they need to clean their house and we have to get pictures done, which generally can be pretty easy to do in 14 days. You might need a little bit longer, but getting everything ready to go, get it cleaned up, get everything spit shine it, it's good to go for pictures. 14 days generally is going to be enough time for that. So we're going to talk about the 3 L's of the MREA, and you guys have probably heard this before, but listings, leverage, and leads, right? So if you look at this triangle as the pyramid to our success or whatever you want to call it, these are the 3 most important things, right? We have to have leads coming in. And why we're talking about listings is they take less time. Who in here has listed and sold a property? 1, 2, okay. How about buyers? You guys done buyers? Okay, perfect. So we're gonna get everybody in this today. Those of you that have worked with a buyer and a seller, which one takes less time? Buyers or sellers? Okay, which one do you have to spend more money on driving around looking at houses? Okay, cool. So we make more money with sellers and they take less time, right? Okay, unless you just love hanging out with that person, that sounds better to us when we're talking about business, right? So we have to go get leads, and why listings is one of the main pillars here is it costs less and we make more money and it takes less time. So when we're going after leads, should we be primarily focused on listings or buyers? If we are an agent that does everything, right? If it's assuming we're not just a buyer's agent, okay? So if we go focus on listings, what do people generally do whenever they sell a house? Turn around and buy one, right? Okay. The vast majority of people do. Now we have first-time home buyers that don't have to sell a house, and we've got people that are selling a house and moving out of the country or taking an RV to Canada or whatever it is. If we can go really prospect for leads that are listings, they are then going to turn around and be a buyer for us, or we get to place a sign in the yard and buyers are going to drive by and call us because we have the sign in the yard, right? So what does that provide? That provides leverage by going after listings when we're looking for leads. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, is there questions there? Because that was not very convincing. Good?
Makes sense.
Okay. Virtues of sellers. Seller listings mean marketing opportunities. Boom, just like we just said. You have a sign in the yard. You have more control of your time because they take less time. Seller listings maximize your per hour compensation. So if we look at dollar per hour, how much are we making? Sellers are the best. Number 4, volume. I don't really know what that means. With sellers listings, you are on the front end of pricing. That means we get to control where we're putting that price at, right? If we have a buyer and there's a seller that we don't control, then how are we helping both parties, right? With seller listings, you're on the front end of pricing. Properly marketed seller listings bring you more business. Again, that goes back to the top. If we're marketing it correctly, they are going to be a buyer on the back end, or we can go bring buyers in either through sign calls or open houses or stuff like that. 7-step seller service cycle. So you can see it up there. We had starting with number 1, lead conversion. Number 2 is pre-listing, listing consultation, servicing and marketing, offers and negotiations, contract to close, post-close systems. Okay, so what we're talking about here is this is a whole process of a seller from start to end. Number 1 is lead conversion. We're bringing that seller in, signing a listing agreement. We're going through the whole house, assuming that we sell it and then we get to close. What do we do after close? Okay. Ahas so far. Did you guys even hear anything that I said, or did I talk too fast?
Listings are more important.
Okay, why?
Less time, more money,
Okay,
and they attract buyers.
why is that important?
Unit value of time,
Okay.
right? So we're not spending our valuable time and money on something that's not paying us back.
Okay, cool. Or we could spend more time with our family, right? Or on the golf course, right? Okay. Any ahas over here?
Yeah, listings equal marketing, whether it's passive or active.
Okay, why?
Because you can have a sign in the yard, somebody drives by it and then you can get a sign call. Or you now have social media content to post, or now it's just another thing under your name on the MLS.
Very cool. Okay. Ahas.
I think everybody's like good ones.
Cool. Move on. Did we cover that? Okay, we didn't really go into that a whole lot. Do you guys understand this pre-listing? I want to go back because this is like actual, like what happens, not just, hey, go kick butt and get some sellers. Like this is the actual technical stuff. So do you guys understand this? Okay, any questions over it? Okay, perfect. Okay, get the appointment. We're gonna talk about converting your A sellers. Keys to converting your A sellers: responding right away to lead inquiries, get valid and complete contact info, save it to command and create an opportunity. That's also gonna allow us to go put them into smart plans and regularly contact and communicate with them. Determine their motivation to sell so you can speak to it. This is one point where I do want to slow down and talk about number 3. Number 4 is set an appointment, time and date for as soon as possible, and send your pre-listing packet, which you might or might not have already. Determine their motivation. This is the most important part in my mind, because this is how we actually provide value to people. And are on the same page with them so we can help them get what they want. You will hear, we're thinking sales, right? We want to sell your house, we want to sell your house, we want to sell your house. One of the byproducts to listings is leverage in marketing, right? If we have 2 transactions that happen, somebody buys and sells, we then have double the income, we have double the marketing, and you get to walk them through 2 processes, right? Because it's 2 separate things, even though it's one move for them. They're selling a house and they're buying a house. If we can get them everything that they want and they are so extremely happy with us, what are they going to send us? Reviews. How about referrals? Bingo. So this is how we do it, determining their motivation. This is going to be, in my opinion, one of the most crucial keys to getting inside of their minds and getting to know them on an even deeper level than you would have. Because we can help people sell houses. It's not that hard to say, hey, here's how the process works. Sign this listing agreement. Here's when I'm getting pictures done. Signs going in the yard on this day. Here's when you need to be out of your house for inspections. We can do that. Like that's, and most of your deals are gonna be like that, more than likely, especially starting off if you don't do this. But if you don't have the deeper level of connection, they're not gonna send you referrals. You're not gonna have that connection with them. Determining their motivation, what that does and why that's so important is it allows you to get inside their head to understand, are they not seeing something that we could potentially help them out with a little bit better? Would it be better to sell before school starts, or would it be better to wait till after, and why? And what that also does is allows us to form a connection with them because we now understand them, right? If we don't understand somebody and we just see their bumper stickers on their car, we probably don't have a real close relationship with them, right? Okay, if we can ask them why and get inside of their head, that allows us to then form a better connection, which is going to make our communication through the whole process easier. And then once we get done, they now feel like a friend versus just a client that was bugging us on Saturday night, right? Okay, so determining their motivation will help us to understand why are they wanting to do what they do and when are they wanting to do it? Because they might think, hey, you know, we're pretty far off. And if we don't ask the question, well, how far is far off to you? And we're thinking they mean 8 to 12 months, and they actually mean 2 to 3 weeks, which doesn't sound that far off. That's pretty close. But if they're saying 2 to 3 weeks, they're pretty far off. That's right now. We got to get going, right? If they say a month and a half out, we've got to get going right now. We got to get over to their house. We got to see what's going on with it. We got to know what repairs we need to make before we put it on the market and when we're getting pictures done. So determining their motivation to sell and why and continuing to ask questions is hugely, hugely important here. So that's the one that I'm going to stop and kind of take my time on. There might be a couple others in here. What sellers want most from their agent. So they've kind of broken down a pie chart here for it. I think the first one's orange. Help price home competitively, help seller market home to potential buyers, help sell the home within the specific time frame, help seller find ways to fix up home to sell it for more, and other. I don't know what would be some others here. Well, let's go through these first actually. Help price home competitively. Duh, right? We want money. Help seller market home to potential buyers. Duh, we're going out, that's why we're taking pictures, that's why we're listing online, all of that stuff, right? Help sell home within specific time frame. So if we go back to the past slide, what was the one we just talked about, determining motivation? Why do they need to be in Hawaii in 3 weeks for their new job? Okay, if we don't ask them those questions, we're not gonna know that they're going to Hawaii for a new job. And we're not gonna know what time frame to sell it in. Now, who has heard the saying, do you wanna sit on the market to get more money, or do you want to sell faster and take less money? Everybody heard that? Okay, the past 3 years, that's not a thing. You can't underprice a home in the market that we were in the past 3 years. It was going to sell for what it was going to sell for. And it was going to sell really, really fast. Now, what we're going to see is moving forward as the demand becomes less and our inventory becomes more, we're gonna have to price homes really, really competitively, okay? For the past 3 years, really when COVID started, what we did was we would go see what houses are sold for as far as running comps. So if we have somebody that says, I wanna sell my house, hello.
Hello.
We have somebody that says, I wanna sell my house, we go look at comps, what is this similar house sold for? And we just listed it at that. What's the highest amount? We just listed it at that, okay? What we did before that, and what we're gonna have to do after we really get out of this time, we're gonna talk about this too, but we're gonna have to list houses really, really competitively, what's actively listed on the market. So if we have a 3-2, 1,200 square feet, and there's 3 others of those on the market, and they're listed at 150, 155, and 160, what can we expect if we go list ours at 165, and we're now the highest price home on the market and the same condition? Buyers aren't gonna pick ours, right? Because they can get the same thing for $15,000 cheaper. We have to go see what else is on the market right now in order to be competitive with our pricing so that our house sells quickly, because when houses sell fast, they sell for the most what? Money, boom. So that's my spiel on that. We'll probably get into that more later. we're gonna help seller find ways to fix up home to sell it for more money. We're providing contractors, we're providing perspective on what do we need to do to make this house better to sell for more money. What are some other things that you think sellers might want from their agent?
Communication.
Okay, why? Why would
Because
they
we have some
expect that?
sellers who want to be kept in the know about everything, every step of the way.
Okay, cool. Do you think there's ever been a seller that might not want to be kept in the know? They might just want to sign the papers when they need to sign them?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. How do we find that out? Which kind of seller do we have?
You need to ask them, what is your expectations on communication?
Okay.
How
perfect.
often would you like it? I usually communicate every Friday. Is that good with you, or would you like less or more?
Very good. Determining motivation and expectations would be, that's probably goes into the same pile, I would say. What else? Anything else that you've heard sellers say that they want from their agent?
Honesty.
Okay. This is a great question to ask. Has anybody ever have a listing questionnaire, a pre-listing questionnaire? Anybody ever seen that? You guys probably have one, don't you? Yeah. This is a great question to have on there. What do you want most from your agent? And let's get it out of the way right now. You tell me exactly what you're wanting. And you know, if I will probably be able to provide that for you, because there's thousands of other people selling homes. You're not that different from everybody else. Everybody's gonna have the same things that they want, but if I can't provide what you want, then let's cut ties now and let's not even go down it. I'll help you find another agent that's gonna be great for you. That was a very blunt way to put that. I would not recommend actually saying that to a seller like that. But that's what the mindset should be, is let's figure out what we want out of each other from this. And then if it makes sense for us to work together, awesome. Has anybody done the disc profile stuff? Okay, so, what's the letter that, I'm gonna call them people pleasers, and I'm talking about myself partially here a little bit too. But if you told a people pleaser, hey, what are you? Do you know what your disc profile is?
Oh, shoot. I don't remember. I was really strong.
Okay. Is anybody a people pleaser? Anybody know that they're a people pleaser? No? Okay. So if I said, hey, I don't know if I really want to work with you, but if you're a right fit for me, then I would love to work with you. And if I'm a good fit for you, more than likely, you're going to think, oh my gosh, why would he not want to work with me? Right?
Yeah.
And then this is me too. I'm talking about myself here, but if somebody says, I'm not sure if I would want to work with you, I'm like, well, yeah, you do. You want to work with me, right? What's wrong with me? Why wouldn't you want to work with me? It's kind of fun. And I tell people that I'm doing that to them as well. However, going in and saying, hey, if this is a good fit, where I'm going with this is you're not going to piss people off by saying, hey, if you're a good fit for me and I'm a good fit for you, then I would love to work together. If not, totally fine, no big deal. They're not going to take that personal except for that example there. And then they're going to say, well, dang it, I am going to price my house right. And I am going to make the repairs that I need to make. And I am going to do the stuff on the inspection notice because I'm good to work with, right? Okay, go into it with the mindset, hey, let's figure out if we're good to work together or not, kind of deal. And we're going to work our tails off for you, but let's make sure first. Okay, build confidence and trust. 7, close to appointment tactics. Show the benefits, take back close, negative, positive close, give them what they're looking for, trial close, assumptive close, tie downs. These are different words than what I remember being on this before, so I don't know if we're gonna have these on here or not. Okay, show the benefits. So if we're closing for an appointment, we have a seller on the phone and we are trying to get to their house and we are trying to close them, right? Closing means that we set the appointment. These are the different types of closes, and this is sales techniques here. This is what we are into right now, just FYI. Show the benefits. There are 7 different closes, and I remember them having different names. So we're gonna stumble through this together and then talk about what they mean. Showing the benefits, what do you think that means? Anybody?
Value.
Okay, so we're gonna show them what we can do. Hey, here's what I've got for you. Can I come out and show you what I have for you, right? So if we're closing on that, hey, I wanna come to your house right now and I wanna show you the benefits of why you wanna list with me. Okay, here's what I'm gonna bring you. So we're showing them the benefits. Take back close. I think the take back close is where we're saying, hey, this is gonna work for our Cs if we're looking at a disc assessment, but our Cs that aren't really sure, they don't wanna commit to anything. Dude, could I come out to your house today at 4, maybe to see it? And if not, that's no big deal. We could do a different time, but would 4 o'clock work today? So we're giving them an out, which is perfect for Cs if you're looking at a disc profile, because they need a way out of everything because they need to analyze everything, right? Negative positive close. I don't actually know what that means. Does anybody else know what that means? Adam, do you know what that means? Negative positive close?
No.
Okay, cool. Give them what they're looking for. I don't know what that means either. I don't really like these. Trial close, assumptive close, tie down close. Essentially, what to take away from this is figure out who you're talking to and then understand how they would want to be asked for someone random to come over to their house. That is not a natural thing for me to pick up the phone and there's a salesman and say, yeah, I would love for you to come to my house this afternoon, right? That's not normal. Is that normal for you? Is that why you're raising your hand? Okay. Do you know these? Do you want to talk about them?
Sure. Show the benefits I've never heard, but the take back is, I really enjoyed visiting with you. To be honest, I'm not sure if I can help you or not, but I'd be honored to meet and find out.
Do you actually know this or just Google it on your computer?
I've made a list of all 10 closes and I've worked on it. Then the negative positive is, would you be offended if I asked if we could meet over this?
Okay. Interesting. Now, the take back close, you talked about that, saying, I'm not sure if we'd right to work together. Are you trying to get in their head to set an appointment with that? Okay, got it.
Now, I'm not sure that would be good to work together, but I'd be honored to find out.
Got
How
it.
would
Okay,
6 PM work tomorrow?
got it. Cool. Okay, give them what they're looking for. What's that one?
Never heard of that.
Okay, cool. Trial close.
Trial close. Have we gone over enough today that meeting would be our next step?
Everybody talks.
Yes.
I've practiced these.
And you're the best at them. That's why
I've practiced.
you're teaching this portion of the class. What is this?
This is the chat. I'm headed upstairs.
Oh, okay, cool. Thank you. Okay, what's the next one, Justin?
Assumptive close.
How does this work?
It sounds like we should meet. I'm available most times this week, so what works best for you?
Okay, cool. Tie downs.
Tie downs. Would it make sense for us to meet in the next day or so? Or sorry, wouldn't it make sense for us to meet in the next day or so?
Sound like an infomercial.
I know he does.
That's my radio DJ voice.
It
My
is.
radio DJ.
How do you say these on the phone?
I need you to write all these
Well,
down.
I mean, I'm just like, you practice them and then you go, this guy seems very soft. I think the trial close, the trial close would work on him. Have we gone over enough today that meeting would be our next step? Like, they seem very soft and analytical. They're not direct and to the point. So like, you're not gonna use the hard close or the direct close.
Okay,
It's just gonna be like, I don't know, like, does it make sense? And then you let them sit there and turn the wheel. And then they go, yeah, I think we could meet over that. Yeah, okay.
okay, cool. Love it. How would you close me?
Direct, 100%.
Okay,
Just go, or hard, let's meet, or can we meet today? And you either go, it works, or it doesn't work.
okay, cool. I'm here for that. Okay, love it. Thank you for the guest sponsor here. Anybody have any questions for him? Justin's the best.
Justin does rock.
Justin rocks when it comes to that kind of stuff. I'm horrible at it.
Practice, phone call practice.
Yeah, love it. Very cool. Okay, questions versus objections. When a question is asked, answer it. When objection comes up, address it. This kind of goes back to the same stuff of let's figure out what problems we're gonna have right off the bat. Okay, and I guess knowing the difference, you're gonna be a good one to ask here too. Is there a difference between questions and objections? Would you say in your mind?
Yes.
How so?
An objection is like a hard stated thing that's in the way between you and yes. A question is just simply asking a point between you and yes.
Okay, so if you had somebody say 6% commission's kind of high, could you lower that? Is that a question or an objection?
That in itself is a question.
Uh,
Can I lower it? If they say, I won't do it unless you lower it, that's an
Okay.
objection.
Okay, what do you say then?
If it's, I won't do it unless you lower it,
Yeah,
I'll say, well, what are you looking for in your realtor? Is it maximum value for you to net the most money, or is it more important to save a little bit of money up front? What's
Yeah.
more important to you? To walk away with the most amount of money, the fastest?
yeah.
And they go, uh-huh. And I go, okay, well, it's 6%.
Straight to the point. Love it. That makes sense? Everybody knows what a question versus an objection is, okay? Go take care of these right off the bat. Questions are easy because they're coming from curiosity, right? Help them answer the questions. An objection is something that needs to be practiced, probably, would you say? I mean, questions are as well, because we've got to know, somebody asks a question, we're the professional, we need to know, or we need to know who to find out that knows. An objection is them saying, I don't think that we're gonna be a good fit, kind of deal. And then we're asking them questions to address the objection, to find out if we're really not a good fit, or is there just something that's in their brain that they're seeing differently than us, and vice versa, right? Not that we're always right, because we are not. But are we seeing something differently, and can we ask the right questions to get on the same page with them? Sometimes it's gonna be a no. Sometimes it's gonna be a no. However, 99% of the time it is a yes. When somebody brings up objections, 99% of the time, we are gonna be able to get on the same page with them. So figure out the questions that we need to ask, like a 6% commission's too high, I'll only do it for 5. Figure out how to have that conversation. Justin's awesome. If you guys ever have questions about scripts on how to handle objections, Justin's one of the best. So how can we overcome those objections and have the conversations to get on the same page to where we are then good with taking the listing, because we know we've got our expectations aligned. Okay, ahas, are you raising your hand or are you stretching?
Oh, just stretch.
Okay, cool. Ahas. What stuck out to you? I need at least one before we can move on.
Definitely, and the different types of closings, that's, yeah,
Okay. Figuring out how to word it for this different
like
personality.
figuring out, yeah, the personality according to the personality.
I think that's one of the biggest like mindset changes that I had was about people, was when I started learning about other people and not just learning about, don't get me wrong, you gotta learn about yourself, but you gotta learn about other personalities. How do those people interact with other human beings? How do they communicate? And the DISC test, I think, is wonderful for that. I think it's been 4 or 5 for me too. I kind of want to retake it again, but go take that so you can see what you are, how you communicate in each style. The KPA, if you guys haven't taken that through Keller Williams, take that one too. It takes like an hour to get through, and you got to do it on your own, but it'll show you how you communicate. And then once you can figure out how are you communicating, you can also go learn about how others communicate and how do you communicate with them. That's the best way to work with everybody in this business and be kind of a chameleon, is being able to talk to all the different people, learn how other people interact and communicate. And we're kind of grouping people, and are we a D, I, S, or C? And then you can figure out, hey, what's going to be the best way? Which close are we using for this? Are we direct and to the point? Are we just saying, hey, I think this would be a good fit. Can we meet and find out? Or are we saying, hey, I don't know if this is a good fit. I want to give you the option. Let them figure it out for themselves. So, okay, what else? Any other ahas? Okay. Pre-listing packet. Does anybody have a pre-listing packet? We asked this, Clayton, you guys said you have a pre-listing packet. Any of you guys have a pre-listing packet? You do have one? Where do you get it at?
Yesterday.
You got it yesterday?
I didn't get it, yeah.
Okay, cool. I was gonna say, did they give you one?
Or we ran through, kind of like an example one.
Okay, cool. Is there one like that's printed out for you to go take to people or something like that? Do you know?
I just have that one to look off of, but.
Okay, cool. Do you
By
guys have one?
pre-listing packet, you just mean like the packet that we would bring for a listing, like, yeah.
Well,
So we have a listing packet. I don't know if we might send them an email of some things to consider. We also have like before you put your house on a market, like flyer that we
Okay.
send them in an email, but we don't really have we have a packet that we bring to the listing. We don't have like a.
Okay, that's what it is. What do you have?
I was, it was qualify, so I guess it's before.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Okay, so I'm gonna briefly describe what a pre-listing, actually, we're just gonna blow through this. Because it's gonna tell you here, and it's gonna be better than me talking about. Okay, you guys have heard this before, right? Going from E to P. Has anybody not heard going from E to P? Have you heard it? No, you haven't? Okay, so what we're talking about.
I've heard it, but I've not.
Yeah, okay, well, we're gonna talk about it then. What most agents do, the vast majority of them, is they hear somebody says, we gotta sell a house, we say, great, how soon can I get out there? Let's get there as soon as possible. Da, 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 da. We're not being focused and we're not being intentional with our time. This is gonna go into the pre-listing packet of why are we doing the things that we are doing. What E to P means is you can see down here, E is entrepreneurial. What does P stand for?
Purposeful.
Thank you. When we are entrepreneurial, what do we think of? We're running around like crazy. We're trying to catch every gold nugget that we see and we're excited about it and it's fun and we're gunslingers and it's a blast. Purposeful is focused, correct? So how can we be more efficient with our time? The whole purpose of this is how do we be more efficient with our time and be more purposeful than entrepreneurial? Entrepreneurial is a great start and you gotta be you gotta kind of be a gunslinger when you're starting out, but how can we be really, really focused and intentional on what we are trying to do here? So the purpose of a pre-listing packet is to save us the most amount of time possible. Essentially, that's the blunt way of how I'm gonna put this. Pre-listing packet goals, pre-sell, build the seller's confidence, answer the questions and objections before your presentation even starts. We're gonna save time. It makes the consultation experience smoother and or shorter by tackling common obstacles. And it's gonna state your value and you're gonna tell the seller what you have to bring to the table. So what a pre-listing packet is a packet that you are giving to the sellers prior to showing up for a listing appointment. So we're gonna say, I'm coming over to your house tomorrow at 4 p.m. for a listing appointment. You called me, you said, hey, I'm thinking about selling my house. Great. Can we meet tomorrow at 4? Yes, cool. So today, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my pre-listing packet over to your house and drop off for you. What it's going to have in it is it's gonna have information on the whole real estate transaction process. Okay, it's gonna have down at the bottom, state your value. Why should you choose me as your realtor? What is my value to you, right? We're gonna talk about objections. We're gonna talk about answering their questions. So price of the home, how do we price a home? How do we stage a home? How do we do those kinds of things, right? How does the whole thing work so that we don't have to explain every single step when we are there in person? What we're trying to do by providing a pre-listing packet is to knock down our time spent at that listing appointment as possible. Now, do not misconstrue this for you to get in the house with the quickest amount of time possible and build no personal connection to your sellers. That is not what we want. What this is meant to do is to allow you the time to build that personal connection so you don't have to talk about the real estate stuff, okay? This is informational. This teaches them about the process. And then when you get there, you get to be super personal and build that personal relationship versus talking about the real estate stuff for 2 hours. And then you get through it all and it's like, man, I'm tired of talking. I want to leave, right? Does that make sense? Okay. Criteria, will you review it in the listing presentation? Does it eliminate the need for a listing consultation? Is it a primer for education you will provide at the listing consultation? I don't really know what this is asking, why there's so many question marks, but these are the questions that should be answered from your list, your pre-list packet. Will you review it in the listing presentation? You will be going over it. they will also review it prior to you getting there. And that is something that you will ask for them and require them to do. And this is how you are really gonna know if they're an A buyer, right? I don't know if you're here for it, but we talked about classifying your leads. And an A seller, we have an A, B, and C classified lead. An A seller is somebody who's ready to go in 14 days. We're gonna have their house on the market in 14 days. Your A and B sellers are gonna look at this. Your A sellers are gonna know it like the back of their hands whenever you get there, if you give them 24 hours. Your B sellers are gonna look at it and have a pretty good understanding. Your C sellers probably already threw it away. So that's how we're gonna be able to tell which one that they are. I'm joking about them throwing it away. They're gonna keep it somewhere, but they won't have looked at it. Does it eliminate the need for a listing consultation? In my opinion, we don't want to eliminate listing consultation. That's how we get there and we show how much we know, and that's how we build a personal relationship with them. Is it a primer for education? You will provide at the listing consultation. This is, I guess, again, I'm not sure what they're getting at here, but this is the one that I like the best. The listing packet gives them the full rundown on the way that everything's gonna go. A lot of it's easy to understand. However, they're gonna have questions, so they're gonna know what questions to ask. So it's gonna allow you to navigate that conversation really, really well, because they're asking the questions that you want them to ask, because it's stuff that you know already, right? So that is why it is important in my mind. Okay, here we go. Is this where you can download one? Disclosure, something, blah, blah, blah. I'm sure this is in Command or something like that. Connect, whatever the website is, you can go download one of these. They've got something for everything. Go download one, you can customize it to all of your stuff. And then you don't have to go write the information, it's already there for you. Take advantage of the Keller Williams technology. It is so easy to use. Go understand how to use it. It's incredible how much is there for us. Seller consultation preparation checklist. Okay, so here's what we are doing prior to the listing consultation and during it. Deliver your pre-listing packet. We just talked about that. Confirm appointment date, time, and location. I cannot tell you how many listing appointments I showed up to that I did not confirm the appointment, and I drove an hour and a half to a vacant piece of land and nobody was there to meet me out there. Okay. It seems like the easy answer is, oh, well, they forgot about me. Confirm the appointment. It takes 2 seconds to go say, hey, are we still on for today or do we need to move it? Ensure all decision makers attend. That's going to be in that conversation, that initial conversation. That's one of the questions is who are going to be the main decision makers. I just sold a house a week or two ago that the mom lived there and owned the house and was moving out of the house and was getting married. But the daughter who lives in St. Louis, they put a trust in place so the daughter could control everything for her mom and make it easier for her. She's not seen the house in 5 years, but she still signs for everything, okay? Make sure that you know who are the people that are signing and who are the people that are gonna hold influence. Has anybody worked with a first-time home buyer in here? Yeah, first-time home buyer. Do parents' opinions have some weight in what those kids are doing, right? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, the correct answer is yes, it does. If you need to talk to the parents, talk to the parents. If you need to put everybody on a group text so everybody knows what's going on to make everybody feel better, put everybody in a group text, communicate with everybody. And for your listing appointments and your listing opportunities, make sure that the decision makers are there. Even if it's a young couple that's selling their first house and their parents are going to be involved again, make sure that all those people are there so you know what questions you need to answer and where everybody's mindset is. Complete and practice your listing presentation. Okay, so that's what we're going to go over next is what is our listing presentation? There is another one on KW Connect or KW Command. Pretty generic. You go print it out, you detail it to yourself. You can change things around. You download it in Google Docs. And you can kind of make it your own if there's changes that you want to make there. So what our listing presentation is we had the pre-list packet that we were going to drop off for our sellers. Again, what was the reason for dropping off a pre-listing packet? It's to save us time and be more efficient with our time, right? A listing presentation is there for the same thing, it is a tool. We have it all outlined what we are going to say, so we can get there and we can be efficient with our time. And we're not letting our sellers or our clients control the conversation and take us down 20 million rabbit holes, which they will do. And it's fine to do if you're building a rapport with them. However, keep it very, very specific on how you go about talking about these things. So if you have an order in which you talk about it all, for me, it's generally, I'm taking them through the whole process of what does this look like? And then what are they wanting out of the transaction? So we know what we need to tweak and what we need to do to make it best suited for them. So you're going to complete your listing presentation and you're going to practice it. You're going to know what you're saying, what you're going there to say when you're walking in the door. Review the lead sheet and arrive to the listing presentation in a professional manner. So the lead sheet is just all your information on them. What do you have? What's their name? Where's their house would probably be a pretty important piece of information, stuff like that. Arrive to the listing presentation in a professional manner. What does a professional manner mean to you guys?
On time.
Okay, what else?
That's for success.
Okay, what else?
Prepared.
Okay, so no SpongeBob slippers?
No SpongeBob.
Okay, I've gone in Crocs before. Is that bad?
Pretty close to SpongeBob slippers.
You should have seen the house.
It just
It was
depends.
acceptable.
I mean, if you're matching your.
I guess if you're matching, you're the person, right?
That's really
Yeah,
what we're doing.
like,
If it takes
people do
one
that
real
with going out
person-
to rural areas, you know, you're not gonna wear a fancy
Yeah.
suit, you know, or whatever.
Well, and the one I've showed up in Crocs before, it was a buddy's house that, it was a house that's fallen down and it's a hunting property and blah, blah, blah. So if I'm wearing camo Crocs at that,
Well, then that totally matches. You're
I
good.
fit in, right?
Yeah, you did.
I'm cool with that. So know who we're going to talk to. That's another big one. And any form of sales or helping people, know who we're talking to so we know how to communicate with them, right? We're not gonna go sell a shack that's fallen down and wear our nicest three-piece suit or long ball gown dress, right? And we're just gonna get dirty anyway. Okay, cool. Know who you're talking to. Ahas, Justin.
Can you go back?
Huh?
I want to make a point on this, though. I'm of the school of thought on point number 2. I never confirm the appointment. I'll drive the hour and a half and get ghosted.
Uh-huh.
Not that I'm wasting my time, because then when I call them and go, hey, you ghosted me, remember how we had talked, blah, 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 blah.
Feel
They
bad.
go, oh, and now they feel like they owe you one.
Okay,
And so now the next appointment, they're not gonna miss it.
okay.
And even if it's something here, I never confirm it, because that's always a way out for
That's what
them.
I was kind of thinking.
Cause like if they've said yes, I leave it alone.
Okay,
I'm in, I don't need to be any more in,
yeah,
I'm already there. But I can always be out and they can always say no again.
okay,
So if I recontact them, to me, that's another opportunity for them to say no.
okay,
For like, for listings too, is like, if you don't confirm and you show up at the doorstep, I'm still here, I'm still prepared, I've still got everything. We set this appointment, you gave me permission to be here.
Right?
So
yeah,
let's have this meeting. I'm sorry you're caught off guard, but we made this meeting.
Yeah.
yeah,
And then, but with buyers, yeah, definitely well, hey, you owe me, man, like,
We set a schedule.
yeah. I see that both ways. I totally get where you're coming from there, and I see how that works. I think that the arguments, the mindset change arguments that there would be people saying is, if you have enough appointments set, it's not gonna matter if one cancels on you.
That's true.
So which is not always the case, and that's not always real world, and it's not everything is always sunshine and rainbows. But if you have enough appointments set and you're always focused on setting the appointments and somebody backs out on you, you know how many, if it's gonna take you an hour to drive out there, takes you an hour to drive back, you're gonna sit there for 10 minutes before you figure out that they're not coming. Now we've got 2 hours and 20 minutes in here. How many appointments could you set if you're sitting here in the office calling, setting more appointments versus driving out there? going
I
to be
always
ghosted on that
confirm.
one?
I mean, I
Yeah.
primarily
See
deal
it
with
both
commercial
ways.
clients
Yeah.
and I always confirm because being in those shoes for so long,
Mhm.
I mean, and being pulled in so many directions, it's not that I didn't want to make something or that my
Mhm.
assistant didn't call and cancel it for me. It's just
Yeah.
sometimes business comes first.
Yeah,
And so I always appreciated when people would call and confirm with me. And yes, it
Yeah.
did give me an out. And I took the out many times. But here's what I also did the next time. The next time I kept the appointment.
yeah,
If you didn't give me an out, then maybe the next time I'm not gonna take your appointment
Yeah.
because you held me to my hard fast
uh-huh.
time I'd already given you. So, I mean, I see that both ways too. Typically, especially in commercial, I confirm the appointment.
I know, I agree, and I see it both ways.
As
It
do I.
works both ways.
As do I, but I guess I go back to, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, it's gonna come out that way though. I'm not so desperate that I wanna corner somebody. And I don't mean that in any disrespectful way. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to make them feel guilty to where they wanna choose me. I wanna show my value so that they choose me. And so confirming it, it just sets the standard that this is how I'm gonna conduct myself through the whole transaction. So I see things just slightly different.
Yeah, no, 100%. And so this is gonna be a super dramatic example, but if the property, if it's a $60,000 property 2 hours away,
I'm not gonna,
We're confirming.
we're confirming.
I'm confirming.
If
So-
it's,
I know where you're
so
going.
see,
if
I know where you're going.
if it's a $400,000 house that's 5 minutes away,
I'm not confirming.
I'm showing up either way.
Yeah.
Even if they text me and say, hey, I can't do it today. I'm gonna say, hey, I drove by, I just want to take a couple pictures, kind of deal.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So can we make it really dramatized to where we see everybody's points? Okay.
Spectrum.
Yeah, and I definitely
Yeah.
think that you have to meet the people where they're at too. You're gonna know if your client is very precise and wants you there and
Mhm.
wants you to call them. You should probably know that.
Mhm.
And, or if you have a client that it's gonna take you 10 tries to get an appointment because they're
Yeah.
just all over the place.
Yeah,
You just have to know your client and it doesn't work. There's not a one size fits all here,
Mhm.
so.
No, yeah, everybody's got their own thing, and that's what's cool about this whole process.
I will say, like, as a new agent, it's probably, like, it would have served me better when I was brand new to just not confirm anything ever,
Mhm.
because then it forces me to go there
Yeah,
and have the appointment.
yeah.
When I confirm it, it's almost like you got the, like, new person scaries about it, where you're like, man, hopefully they kind of cancel, like, I don't know what I'm doing, like, if they cancel, I'm all right,
Oh, that was me.
yeah.
That was me 100%. I was like,
So
oh my
by
God.
not
please don't make me
confirming
show
it,
up for this.
You're locked in, you're going, they said yes, you're going.
That's cool. I'm cool with that mindset.
It's a
for
confidence
sure.
strategy for you, I see.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, but no, that was me calling like, hey, we don't have to meet today if you really don't want to.
Yeah.
I also think it's
What?
really
They're like, "No, I don't want to."
this whole
Yeah,
thing.
like, that's not what we're
Never know.
supposed to say. So, yeah, I see it always. I agree, getting there, doing that thing. Again, if it's a $60,000 property that's 2 hours away, I'm confirming because I'm gonna be super mad at what else I could have been doing in that time frame to go do that. So everybody's got their different ways of getting themselves there and what they need to do. Figure out what yours is, try them all, and go from there. Okay, can we move on from that? We good? Okay. What's your biggest ahas from that section? Because there's a little bit more good material. I don't know how I want to say that. There's a couple more nuggets in
We
there.
plan to save time.
Okay. Cool. The whole thing's about efficiency. Really, we can be friends with them, but if we can make the business aspect, and that's what I think, it took me a long time to understand that, is they're separate. There's friendships and there's business, and they can be separate, and that's, in my mind, it should be. But you can go in there and streamline the business stuff, and you tell them, hey, I'm trying to streamline this to make it as easy as possible. They're gonna say, great, sounds good, let's do that. Kind of thing. I like that. What else? Were you about to say something?
I like the listing packet, how you were like, basically just hand it to them so you can worry about the relationship side of it. You didn't have to go through every detail of it.
Yeah. And that's an easy, so when it comes to listing appointments, I don't know if they've got anything on this or not, but I'm gonna dig into it now. When it comes to the technical side of going on and listing appointments and figuring out how you do it, the easiest way for me to explain it is there is a one-step listing appointment and a two-step listing appointment or listing process. And I think Evan DeShong actually, my first Ignite, Evan taught this, and this is what resonated with me the most and stuck with me, is There are people that will say, hey, let me come see your house. They're going on the listing appointment. They do their comps beforehand and they run a CMA beforehand so they can show up to the house and say, hey, after seeing your house, here's where I would price it at. Makes you seem like with only having to see it once, the other side is seeing it twice and going to it and saying, great, now that I've seen your house, I'm gonna go run my numbers and then come back and we'll talk about price after I can do my research. The one-step listing process, the mindset behind it is I'm the expert. I only need to see it one time. I know my stuff. I'm coming in here and I'm confident about my abilities. I know what I'm dealing with. I just need to see it one time. We'll deal with it on the first go around. The two-step listing appointment is we're going to see the house and then we're going to go do a CMA and then I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about what the numbers are so I can be really specific for you. And I know that I'm doing all of my due diligence so we can get you the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of hassle, right? This goes back to what we talked about earlier, knowing who you're talking to. If we have a really high C that's a big analyzer and needs to make sure that everything's correct before we're pulling the trigger, we're doing a two-step listing appointment. So that we can say, I want to make sure that I'm correct for you. I don't want to make any mistakes. If we're dealing with a super high D that just wants to answer now and doesn't want to waste any more time on the business side of ththings, hey, we're coming in, we're going to do it one time. I'm going to run my CMA. You're good. You got any to share?
It's used tuna.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I think that's what I'm needing for this too. If we've got somebody who's super direct and doesn't want to waste time and just wants to answer, hey, I'll come out, I'll do my CMA beforehand, we'll come out, we're determining the price range at that point in time. Does that make sense? The difference between a two-step and a one-step listing process, super beneficial once you know who you're working with and how they communicate, which one you can do. You don't have to do the same thing every time. Taking that pre-listing packet is awesome for the two-step listing process because that gives you your first visit. That gives you the excuse for your first visit. And you can say, hey, I've got a pre-listing packet that I want to come drop off just so you can see how I work. And so I can get my eyeballs on the house so that when I run my CMA, I know that I've seen your house and know what I'm comparing it to. So I can get super specific for you whenever I bring the numbers back and we determine a price. Does that make sense? How we're having that conversation there? Okay, cool. What other, any ahas from this side of the room?
I think they've all been good.
Okay,
I
Cool.
just keep thinking back to my first listing and I was totally faking it till I made it. Oh my gosh.
You
It was
have
so
to.
scary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you made it through it okay, right? You got the answers that you needed to?
And they were really chill. So that helped. They
Bingo.
were younger and just
Yeah.
kind of like,
Yeah.
this is fine.
You know, the cool part about people, not all people are cool, but one of the cool things about people is you tell them, hey, you know, I'm newer here, but I've got this awesome team behind me.
Yeah.
We would love to help you. And it's odd when you say, I'm newer here, so thank you for giving me the chance. They're like, oh my gosh, let's do this kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
They were
going out
very much
saying,
like that.
yeah, that's incredible. Okay, any other ahas? I saw you thinking over here. I see you thinking. Okay, nothing?
I didn't know there was a one or a two-step process. I guess I've seen it that we just kind of combine the two.
Okay.
We run a CPA beforehand, and then or CMA beforehand, then we
Yeah.
get to
You might get
the,
in trouble.
sorry. Then we get to the appointment with the packet, and then we just feel out the appointment.
And that's totally fine as well. And so here's the cool part is there's so many different ways to do this, that a one step and a two step makes it super black and white and separated. And like, there's only two options. There's not, you can tweak this however you want to tweak it and make it your own. So personally, I prefer a two step just because most people are frightened and kind of scared. I mean, selling a house is a big deal, right? Buying a house is a big deal. And so this is a huge thing. Most people are more analytical than less analytical when it comes to this process because they don't know a lot. I prefer the two-step whenever we're talking about those kind of things, just because I get to say, hey, we're going to make sure we're correct here. This is a lot of money and I want to make sure that I do a good job for you. You know, we're not going to list this thing for 2 months. So we've got time for me to do my research and to be really, really certain that we have everything nailed down. Let me come drop this packet off for you. Let me get the eyeballs on the house. That way, all I have to do is give them that packet. If you've got one, look at the house. And then while you're walking through the house, you're just building personal relationship, rapport that whole entire time and talking about their house and, oh, this looks so nice, blah, 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 whatever you have to tell them. The one step is very easy for the direct people. Your people that have done this before multiple times and don't want to waste a lot of time and don't need to be educated doing that kind of stuff. If you get there and you fill it out, that's totally, you just feel it out on where they're at, and that's totally fine as well. So find a process. It's gonna take you several times, and you're always gonna be refining your listing presentation and your listing process. Figure out a way, see how something works, see how somebody else does something, and then go do it and try it out. Okay, any other ahas?
Now the listing packet is separate from, is gonna be different from the actual documents. Do you take the listing docs with you on, or does it depend, or do you have them just in case?
Depends on who it is. If we're best practices, yes, you would take them with you. We're using DocuSign or Dotloop or whatever, pretty much everybody signs stuff online, right? When I started, we were right at the tail end of that, of old school beginning and new school starting. And so I was still signing listing documents and contracts and all that, and I would have to go drive for somebody to sign something, and we were doing all that stuff. I would take them and give them to them, but not be the ones that they are signing. Just docs for them to look at and read so they
That makes
understand
sense.
what they're signing. And that would probably be in my listing packet if I were you, and we were doing this the same every single time. It would be your pre-list packet. And I would put that in a folder on one side, and on the other side, I would put the listing agreement stuff in there. And I would have them look at both so that they know what's in it and they know what questions to ask me whenever I come back there the next day for the actual listing appointment.
That's exactly what we do.
Okay, perfect.
So you
So-
take that by them one day, meet with them, and then go back the next.
Yeah, so if in my perfect world, this is what it would look like. I have a folder, and on one side is my pre-listing packet that has all their checklist of what they need to do. That's describing how do we price houses, that's describing who am I as an agent, why am I the best person for the job,
Right.
what have I done, yada, yada, yada. So that's very informational. The other side of the folder is gonna be all of the listing docs for them and probably filled out already.
Right.
So you can just drop it off and say, hey, here's what we're signing. Kind of deal. We're gonna sign these on computer later, but I want you to read through these.
Yeah.
This you
Okay,
got.
got
And
it.
if they sign them right there, say, yep, we've got that,
Then
and
you're
say, hey,
done.
we're gonna need a digital copy later too, probably,
Yeah.
so we'll just do that.
Cool.
That's what I would do, is take that to them the first day, so that you can drop that off, and you're gonna do a quick 10-minute walkthrough of their house, take some notes, so I can go back and do my CMA. Okay, do you know what a CMA is?
Mhm.
Okay, everybody know what a CMA is? We've heard that term, okay. We're doing our CMA after that first appointment, then coming back the next day, ideally, we're coming back the next day to bring them the comps and show them what we're looking at, so we can make a decision on price together, and I can explain anything else throughout the process or answer any questions about me to help them feel more comfortable that I am the person for the job.
Okay.
Does that make sense, or did I blow through that
Yes,
too
no.
fast? Okay, any other questions? Okay, perfect. So we don't have anything on that. Okay, listing appointment. So we've dropped off the pre-listing packet. We have done our CMA. Now we are going in to actually get the listing agreement signed. So when we're doing this, what we're doing is create a great impression to build the seller's confidence in you as a real estate agent, like we just said. Share your price recommendation, the initial list price for their property and your reasoning behind it. And then to set expectations for how you will market the home and work with your sellers or to them, the people that you're meeting with. So expectations for the process, price, and to answer any questions, build their confidence in you so they feel cool signing the listing agreement and working with you. How the listing presentation meets seller needs and wants in 10 minutes. Your needs, why is this page important? What we talked about at the beginning was determine the motivation, right? Determine the motivation for your client so you know how best to help them. What we have to do is we have to understand their needs in order to do that. Before we're going, we are reciting this. If you're an affirmations person, you don't have to be. If you are, great. If not, find some other way. It's listening to Tupac or whatever it is on the way to your listening appointment, get yourself jacked up. I am knowledgeable and caring and the best agent for these clients. They will appreciate my expertise and preparation and choose me to represent them as they sell their home. We're gonna read that all together to boost all of our confidence and for you guys to actually talk and get some energy going. So 1, 2, 3. I am knowledgeable and caring and the best agent for these clients. They will appreciate my expertise and preparation and choose me to represent them as they sell their home. Okay, I always thought it would be funny if they like brought a recruit in and they were showing them around the building and we were like all saying this in unison and I could say, okay, now come up for your cup of Kool-Aid or wine or whatever it would be. Find what's good for you. I'm gonna make this is cheesy and cliche, and I'm gonna go there with this. For me, I don't sit here and look at myself in the mirror and talk. It will be listening to some form of music that gets me jacked up or gets me in the mood or listen to a podcast or whatever it is. Affirmations are a great way to get yourself in the mindset that you need to be in. The more that you say something, it's gonna be the more that you think it. And the more that you think it, the more it's gonna become a reality, correct? I know it's cheesy. I see you guys both laughing over here, so bear with me. I get it.
Yeah, I say it all stuff all the time.
Okay, perfect. And
Laws
that's
of
awesome.
attraction.
And it's 100%, that's what it is. And you can talk about that, whether it's just speaking to yourself or you're praying or whatever you believe, it doesn't matter. Just finding whatever it is for you that gets yourself in the mindset to have the attitude that you need to have, which ultimately is a whole thing. Have the right attitude and you'll be able to communicate that with people. Okay, are we good there? Okay. Opportunities, update at every stage of your relationship and transaction. Okay, so this is important. I'm not a technology guy. This is a do as I say, not as I do kind of deal, because I have someone that helps me with this. And she's much better at it than I am. So in Command, when you are updating your opportunities for the people that you put them in as soon as you have a name, phone number, and email address, so you can keep the relationship going through Command and you know where you're at. And you can keep notes on the last conversation that you had. For example, I want to sell my house in April because we will almost be done with school and the kids will be not quite into their summer sports yet. Put that in here because that stuff gets lost all the time. I'll speak for myself anyway. Update your opportunities in Command, use Command, it's awesome, or find another CRM that works for you. Use something other than sticky notes like me. Listing walkthrough. Okay, so I'm going a little bit out of turn here because I do this first and we may be starting to talk about this actually a little bit more. I don't know how they have this ordered. Listing walkthrough, handwritten thank you. What are we doing here? Okay. We've talked about this already, right? Have we covered list and walkthrough? We're taking the pre-list packet and we're looking through their house, right? And then confirming or setting the appointment for us to come back and present the CMA if that's what we're doing. Handwritten thank you note. Our real estate market has moved really, really fast, so we haven't seen this as much the past 3 years. However, what we are trending back towards is someone will say, I want to sell my house, and then they will interview 2 or 3 agents, okay? You will find yourself in that situation, even with friends and family. I know it's crazy to believe, but you will find yourself in those situations. After the listing appointment, you have to continue to do what we talk about doing in Command all the time. We're continuing to follow up, okay? Just because we've had an appointment with someone, that does not give us the excuse to stop talking about it. If their house has not been listed yet, they are still open for business until they tell us that we have a signed listing agreement, right? So we've got to continue to talk to these people on a regular basis. Determining their motivation and how quick their timeline is, that's going to allow us to see what's the frequency in which we need to communicate with them. If they're 14 days out, we need to communicate with them every day. Okay, especially until we have that listing agreement signed. A handwritten thank you note is going to be a great way to add one more touch with these people. Is if on day 1 we're dropping off the pre-list packet and looking at their house, day 2 We are going over for the actual listing presentation. Day 3, we're dropping off a handwritten thank you note. Hey, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to come look at your home. It's very beautiful. Whatever you're gonna say there, or it's very ugly and we should price it really, really low, whatever you want to put. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I look forward to talking to you in the future about selling your home, whatever it is. It's one more way. Keep in front of them, keep talking to them. That's all we're after here, is constant communication. Okay, so that was needs analysis, listing agreement, at the listing appointment. What questions do you have when you're at the listing appointment? Anything? I know I didn't do that good of a job. There's got to be something.
What questions should we have at the listing appointment is what you're asking?
For, no, sorry, questions or ahas from that chapter that we just covered. There. Nothing? Okay, then we're gonna ask questions to make you talk. How has your thinking changed so far and what we've talked about? What do you see differently now than what you saw coming into this?
I like the 3 touches, like you have the listing appointment, the second listing, you know, whether you're doing, and then the hand delivery of a thank you note, you know. I think that's personable. I like the 3 touches.
Cool. Okay, what else? What else has changed in your mindset or the way that you are thinking about?
I guess I never thought of like a pre-listing packet,
Mhm.
but a lot of people aren't super knowledgeable about how to go about it or like, you know, finding value in their agent or some things. And so I think presenting that is great.
Cool, yeah, it really does save you so much time. It takes you a little bit of time to go create it, which you can pull this from command and design it to yourself, and make it super easy there, but it saves you so much time. They're more educated about the process. They know what's going on. I would guess that 90% of agents don't have a pre-listing packet, more than likely. So again, we talk about there's different ways to do things. There's agents.
To me, that's a differentiating factor is to actually drop something off ahead of time.
Once you start having, we're going into interview for the job again, and it's not just your brother's uncle's cousin calls you and says, list my house tomorrow. And we've got to actually go fight for the business. This is something that sets you apart from everybody else. So now the flip side of that is if you're going to go against somebody that's already got it, it evens the playing field. If you don't have it, you're a step below already. So.
And it's tangible. I like that it's tangible in their timing. They can go through it.
Makes it easy to understand
Yeah.
for them. Cool. Okay, what do you feel differently about? That's the same question that we just asked pretty much. Okay, what are you actually gonna change in your business? And we'll be realistic here. What are you actually gonna change moving forward?
I'm a structure person, so I like putting structure to everything. And so I wrote down notes to just apply some structure in places maybe that I didn't have as much, or maybe I thought I did, but
No.
in thinking about it, maybe I would want a little bit more.
Okay,
Yeah.
Cool.
Not rigid structure, but structure that there's always a plan for everything.
cool. What else?
Adding the pre-listing packet.
Cool.
Yeah.
It makes your life way easier.
Yeah.
No listing packet?
Not that I'm using currently, we're kind of in between stuff right now. But I started off with one. I actually found my old one from Remax the other day in the closet, which was kind of funny to go back and look at. It's all the same.
So was it a listing packet or a pre-listing packet?
Pre-list packet.
Okay.
Pre-list packet. And it's kind of covered. It's the same thing to me. Is the pre-list packet, it's this, the packet tells you what you're doing before we list the house. So what are we getting ready? What are we painting? What are we cleaning up? What are we buying new? What are we doing this stuff? Telling them about yourself. So it's the same thing. It's before listing. We're dropping it off on step number 1. If we're doing a 2-step listing presentation, it has the listing docs and the pre-list packet in there. Does that make sense? I don't feel like I articulated that very well. the first
Yeah, because
go.
I thought that
Thank
they
you
were
very
kind of
much.
2 separate things in my mind, but
They're not, it's one folder. So I would go get a folder from the front desk. Haley's got them there. You can buy them from her. It's a KW folder. On one side of the normal folder that you would have like in elementary school. One side is that packet that you can print off from KW Connect or wherever it is. They'll know upstairs. Print that packet off, customize it to yourself. The other side of that folder is the listing documentation that they're gonna have to sign. So you're dropping that off on day one, day two. You're going back to explain pricing and then ask them what questions did they have about the documentation that you dropped off.
And so you just leave that documentation blank and you're gonna DocuSign it to them?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, that's what I do. Again, there's plenty of people that still get wet signatures. There's plenty of people that don't go drop those off and just explain it over the phone whenever they send it to them to sign to DocuSign. So whatever works best. I just like, in an ideal world, again, that's the best way to handle it because it gets all the questions asked out front. And it gives them the opportunity to look at everything before they actually have to sign it. So.
Yeah, ours is, we have like the seller's roadmap, like that circle that you had earlier. We literally have that in there just to kind of give them basic information. A seller's checklist, like we'll have that in there as well.
Yeah.
And then I think the last one's like some information of like where we're gonna be marketing and stuff for
Mhm.
buyers.
Yeah, something that probably other people put in there as well would be market update kind of stuff. Is, hey, here's how the market is. Here's what to expect when I come back with your comps and tell you that your house is $150,000 less than what you think it is. That makes it easy to get their expectations set on reality, not just what they've heard from Uncle Jim Bob or on Facebook or whatever it might be.
With comps, we have a whole packet just for comps.
Cool.
We show the houses that we used in the comps, how they differ from their house, and then what they sold as.
Yeah.
Just so they can see it, and they're not just like, why are you a jackass and only get 30,000 low?
Yeah, 100%. It helps you. As much factual information as we can give is the whole point of this, is look at, here's what the actual stats are. We're not just making this up. I'm not just looking for a quick sale and a paycheck. I actually want to sell this for the most amount of money. So I get paid more. And you send me referrals because you're happy with me. Okay, anybody else gonna change anything moving forward?
I like the stuff you guys both talked about, the recognizing the personality and kind of their traits and then responding to that in different forms and fashions. Like I haven't really thought about that. It's mostly just been like, get a script in my head, get a listing presentation in my head, this is how we do it. Oh, this is how I'm gonna respond based off the conversation.
Well, and I would prefer you have so if we have two options here, which are personalizing it to the person that you're talking to or having your one thing that you do and being really good at that. I would rather you have that side down first. So that's why you guys are doing that.
Right.
Right? Is let's get really good at this and then let's get creative.
Right.
Okay? We're gonna move from E to P. We're gonna do something really, really good and then we're gonna move out of the box. I don't know what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm trying to say? I would rather you have that listing presentation down so you know what you're saying. And so you can control that. And then as the variables come, learn how to deal with other people. And that's learning about. Yeah. So get it down and then change it. The disc profile is a great place to start there. I'm sure Brian's got plenty of things when it comes to that, learning personalities.
He's nerding out about KPA stuff.
Yeah.
Really, so.
Yeah, he meets with Rachel like 5 times a week. So I'm just kidding. Which is cool. I nerd out about that stuff as well, and it's fun. The disc assessment is a great place to start. If you guys haven't taken that, I think you can go actually ask the leadership team. So go ask Landon or Rachel or Haley or whoever's up there for the disc profile, and I think they'll send it to you and you can go take it. It takes 15 or 20 minutes. And essentially there's 4 different personality types and it tells you what you are, and then start learning about what the other ones are so you can see. But when you're talking to somebody, this test is, I'm gonna get kind of hyper specific, but somebody's a C on the disc profile. There's D, I, S, and C. C is super analytical. Got to think about everything. D is very direct, to the point. Give me my options and let me pick one of the two. I don't want to look at all of them. I just want two. If you're dealing with a C that's selling their house, it's very, very analytical. We're gonna have to look at all the numbers, right? We're gonna have to show them, hey, here's what that house down around the corner sold for. Here's what this sold for. Here's what this sold for. Let's figure out why they sold for that, and then let's properly price your house. Versus somebody who's super, super high direct, a D on the disc profile, they're gonna say, what does my house sell for? You're gonna say this, and if they like it, they're gonna say, okay, great, let's do it. We don't have to see why, we just need to know what. So learn the different personality types. The Enneagram is kind of long and confusing. It's good and it's interesting, but the Enneagram's kind of long. Disc profile is super easy. Go look at the KPA as well. So those are the two things there. Tools, models or systems that you're going to change. I know we talked about adding a listing packet. Anybody else find anything? Okay, I don't think we got anything online. Okay, what is the daily success system? Somebody explain this to me because they've changed it since I've taken this. Oh, there it is. Are you guys doing this? Okay. What is this? Is this every day?
Yep.
Okay,
10 conversations, 10 contacts.
okay,
On Facebook, you're doing 10 likes,
okay.
5 comments, 1 post.
Is this 5 days a week or how many days a week is this?
5 as well.
5 days a week? Has anybody actually done it all 5 days a week, every single week since we started?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, it's okay if not. It's okay if not.
I don't know that I've built it, but I've done half at least.
Yeah. Okay,
Social media is.
Not the contacts, that's the one I struggle with the most.
okay,
I would agree, I'm not doing contacts.
okay,
I mean, yeah, I might get 2 or 3, but 10 is hard.
okay. What's hard about it?
Well,
This is, we're gonna turn this into a group conversation and actually,
Finding the lead gen time.
yeah,
Because I'm doing.
I think right now with the Ignite class, I think I'm just anxious to have that time to actually go implement. So,
okay.
yeah,
Do you guys have the people that would allow you to do 10 conversations a day if you had the time?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
getting the 10 conversations a day. It's just not all new contacts. So it's
Okay.
mostly just reaching out across our database, which is like, I don't know, 1,800 people now.
Yeah,
But like, just reaching across the database, talking to the quarterlies and then talking to my sphere.
yeah,
And so the conversations and the notes are easy, but the getting 10 new contacts a day, that's what I'm struggling.
okay, so is that contacts added to your command?
Yes.
Okay. Is that what we're talking about over here too?
yeah, I feel like I can't even get enough contacts in my phone to even put them all into command yet, but
Okay,
I mean, like, I've got way more contacts on Facebook than I do like daily or whatever, and I've been in this industry on the admin side for 5 years, so like half of my existing contacts list are other agents, so it really doesn't help me.
okay, got
Like,
it.
the only thing that I've been able to develop from that is like a mass mailing to other agents for like buyer needs and
Okay.
stuff. But so I'm just trying to filter over more personal people
Uh-huh.
from, social media over
Okay.
to,
Got it. Are all of your contacts already in command?
no,
They are.
Okay, yours are not?
no.
Okay, yours are.
And it's
So you're struggling with new people. You're talking to people,
correct.
but you don't have the 10. So 10 conversations is easy, 10 contacts added is hard. That's what you're saying.
Correct.
Okay. What's your
10
thought?
contacts added is, I can talk to 10 people all day long.
Yeah. Are you doing that now? Would you say if we said, are you having 10 conversations a day at a decently high level? Meaning, are you getting those 10 a day?
I think between 5 and 10 a day.
Okay. Cool.
I would say like for the contacts, like right now I'm working on my percentages too. Cause I
Okay.
added all this sphere like a month and a half ago to like our team's database.
Yeah.
And then getting addresses and getting emails. I've gone up a significant percentage since we started this class, just sending out Twilio text, but it's like,
Cool. Okay.
but the, like, finding 10 new people, like, I don't even know if I'm talking 10 new people a day, so
I would
it's,
agree.
the hardest part is then it's just like reaching out on Facebook leads and like maybe it's like they're already added to the database, so if you call that, like 10 contacts, sure, but it's not,
Okay, cool.
Just getting them added to stuff.
Okay, Justin, what about you? How many conversations do you have a day on average, would you say? Realistically,
I don't know.
are you hitting 10, do you think?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Yeah, right around it. Okay,
But
cool.
it varies. It depends on what I'm doing.
Yeah,
Like some days I'm cold calling businesses, some days I'm door knocking, and then some days I'm just organically talking to people.
okay. Cool. Finding something out that works.
I just try it all a little
Yeah.
bit, dabbling.
Okay, cool. What do you think? Are you getting 10?
And 10 conversations?
Yeah.
Yeah,
How about the contacts added?
no.
Is that hard? That's by far the hardest of the two. So don't feel bad that you're not. That's the hardest of the two for
Yeah.
sure.
Like the appropriate time
Yeah.
to get someone's contact, it's gonna.
Because if you're asking for
Yeah.
somebody's contact, normally be like, hey, let's go to lunch or let's do, and you can't because we're here
Yeah.
for a month.
But I
so.
loved Erin's thing. She said one day, she'll just say, hey, I'm new and I'm trying to make sure I have all your information right. Can you just update me with your address and phone number?
Super easy.
Like
mean-
my gratitude.
Well, yeah, like,
thing.
well, she said, yeah, I'm in a contest.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm in a contest.
Yeah.
And, I mean, just pick away.
Contest is the easiest line.
Mhm,
By
'cause people
far.
want you to win.
Oh my gosh, it's.
People want to
insane.
help you win. They want to help you win at everything.
That's why I'm waiting to get all my contacts, so when I do bold, so I don't let my team down.
I need to,
You're saving.
I'm saving them.
I need to go back and find.
I'm not gonna go double. You kidding me?
You
I'm not
have to do
stupid.
it randomly and sporadically, so people don't catch on.
Strategy.
I did this last year and it was insane. And I think I added 80 contacts to my database with this, and it was all just Facebook messages. And it was, hey, we're in a contest with another team in our office. What we are looking for is leads. And so I'm being very blunt and to the point. Hey, we're in a contest for the most leads. What a lead is anybody who might be interested in buying or selling a house in the next year or so. Who do you know that would help us win this contest? And I added 80, I got 80 leads out of that one message. Now, you can only send 62 of the same message through Facebook a day. I did find that out. After that, they will start blocking you. But it was every day I would go in and I would send it. I mean, it was just type in A, who comes up, and send it to all of those people in order so I could keep track of where we're at alphabetically. So once I hit those 62 names, the next one that I sent, I knew I couldn't send anymore, so that would be the first name tomorrow, and it was just going through that. And it probably took me, I mean, I don't know how many, 62 times, whatever it was, it took me a month to get all the way through, probably. Because there'd be days that I'd miss days and I wouldn't do it, but you think of 62 a day and my
So for the
general,
duration of the contest, you did 80 contacts or just in one day?
just one day was those 62 messages. Because after you send
62, that's when it's
62
vanishing.
of the same message, you can't send any more new
Oh,
messages.
Okay.
You can respond to the people that respond to you,
Uh-huh.
and then you have a message going with already, but you can't send any more to you. So of those 62 messages, on average, I would get 12 to 20 responses. So
Overwhelming.
it was, but it took
So what was your message? What did you say?
40
Did I
minutes.
miss one?
I'll read it to you if you want.
Yeah, I do want.
I read it to the last Ignite class and nobody actually used it.
I'll tell you with.
I
That's
send it to
bad.
me, I will straight use it.
With your rule of 62 messages a day, I believe that's 62 copy and paste messages that don't change.
Yep.
Because I've done bold 100s and I've had my assistant, while I'm calling, she's writing Facebook messages, but is changing names and interest in job places. So it'd be like, hey, are you still working at job place? And then, she'd like look up their profile and it'd be like SRC. She'd be like, SRC, how are things? Blah, blah, blah. Hope to see you soon. Name, Kelly. And we sent hundreds of those in one day. But you've got to be able to change it. Like, so copy and paste your template and then just change like a name if you want to really.
So if you do it on the computer made it super easy for me on, what's this, Facebook Messenger? If you go on there and do it on the computer, because you can type in A and it'll pull up all of the A names. And then you just keep going to all of the first names with an A, pop, 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 pop. And it's like 62 copy and pasted messages. So here's what I sent to everybody. I did not change it for anyone. I did not add anybody's name in. I tried to get as many of these out in the shortest amount of time possible. So it was everybody all got the same message. Husband and wives included, everybody had it. And they would all typically respond to me separate because they'd be at work or whatever it was. And it probably took me about 30 minutes to send 62 messages. I would go through and send all of them before I would go back and respond to anybody. So that's how I navigated the overwhelmingness of it, is I would make sure that I sent all of them. There's plenty of people that I forgot to respond to that responded to me that said, nope, we don't have anybody. And I would move on to the next person and do that. So there's plenty of people that got left in the dust. However, 62 got sent out before I responded to anybody. So I knew that I sent all 62 out. Okay, you ready? Hey, full disclosure, I'm here to bug you. Laughing emoji. So my brother Ross has recently joined me in the crazy world of real estate, and we're challenged another team in our office to see who could get the most leads by the end of the week. All we are looking for is someone who might, all caps, might be interested in buying or selling a house in the next year or so. Do you know of anyone that might be interested? Question mark, question mark. That was it. I just sent that to everybody. And it was very.
Do you worry about, like in my sphere of people that have real estate agents in their family, did you care about any of that you just sent?
I sent it to ex-girlfriends. I don't know, and I didn't mean to, like, I
But you just go
didn't.
through, you don't remember who's on your Facebook.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
like
where
I just went through and popped them out.
I
and
think
it
I
was
have like 37
Newlywed.
Facebook, and I'm like, I don't
Yeah,
remember.
like,
who's
and
here.
it was one of those things that they messaged back and they said, hey, hope everything's great. Congrats on just getting married. I'm sorry, I don't know anybody right now.
So did you send it to just your local people or people all over the world?
I
I had
sent it
people
to-
all over the world.
He said he sent them to all.
Well, depending on the
referrals?
relationship, I mean, it was like that.
International referrals?
Yeah, you can do
Yeah.
that all over the world. I don't know if I've sent it all over the world, but the people I went to college with in Georgia, yeah, I sent them because I can send a referral, and I got a referral that way. He bought a $200,000 house and I got the collect referral check off of it. So it was,
So just send them to all over the world.
Do
Heck
it.
yeah.
yeah, I mean, why not?
Why
You
not?
Why
know
not?
what I mean? If you
Yeah,
send
that's what I'm
that,
saying, all over the.
if you help
I-
somebody
people all
buy a
over the world.
house in Paris, they're gonna pay like $5 million. That's a pretty good referral there to send one message. Now, are you actually gonna do that? Maybe not, but what if you do? It's gonna take you an extra 10 seconds to send that message. So it was legitimately, I went back and looked at some of the people that I sent it to and I was cringing. So, I mean,
That's
yeah.
what I
It
don't.
was like,
That was
my
the same-
last
that was my
experience.
robo system.
Yeah.
I didn't really mean to send that to you.
Oh my gosh. And so, you know, the funniest thing about it is the robo system, everybody asks, is this a spam message? Oh, Trey got hacked,
Yes.
whatever it was. A girl that I went to high school with, who I think they just are having their second kid, and she's married to a guy that I knew in high school too, and played baseball with and against. She messaged me back and say, hey, I don't know if this is spam, but we're actually talking about moving. Can you give me a call
How
sometime?
fun.
And we had her house listed 3 weeks later and closed in 30 days after that. So it's one of those deals that you will get maybe 1 or 2. If you're lucky, you're getting 1 or 2 sales immediately right now. But what I was also able to do is I was able to reconnect with a lot of people that thought it was hilarious that I said, hey, I'm here to bug you, just FYI. Half the people said, hey, love the transparency. Let me know how I can help. Even if I don't have anybody now, how can I help? You might get 1 or 2 if you're lucky that are gonna do business in the next 30 days. But being able to add 80 contacts into command through that and rekindle those relationships, that was the biggest part of the whole thing. And that's just 80 people that I got name, phone number, email address for. That doesn't even count the 400 other conversations, 500 other conversations that I had through sending that one message out. That's 62 messages a day, takes you 30 minutes, take another 30 minutes to respond to everybody that responds to you. Thank you so much. You're gonna have 2 or 3 a day that actually provide you a lead, and then you go from there and deal with those. Everybody else, you say, thanks so much, I appreciate it. Let me know if you do. You don't have to have, and this is one deal, this is one thing that we had a conversation with on our team was, do you have a full-blown personal conversation with everybody? And you don't have to. This doesn't have to be, these contacts are not full-blown personal conversations all the time. It's okay to just say, hey, here's what I'm looking for today. Do you have anybody? Do you know anybody? Can you help me out? And they're gonna say, man, yeah, I do. Trey, here you go. Here's my mom. Or nope, sorry, man. Sorry, Trey, I don't have anybody for you. That's an easy yes or no. Keep the business and personal separate. And when you keep business separate, people appreciate that because we know what we're here for. I'm here to bug you. I'm being a realtor today. Who do you know?
Yeah, I just used AI to help me like come up with a generic text to send to literally everybody in my contacts. And I found out very quickly that 62 is probably a way better number than me sending it to everybody because I'm still writing down addresses and whatnot from that because I got an overwhelming response back. And it was like 700 people I sent it to and just like a mass text like 2 days in a row. And it was like, oh my gosh, I've got so much now.
So our CRM platform that we just switched, but that we're using, you can go and text everybody that's in your database. We have like 1,500 or something like that. So I was messing around with the texting portion of it. I've never actually used it, but the mass text portion, and Jenna Tateman, who's an agent on our team, is on there as well. And what you can do is you can type, hey, and then insert the name. This is agent name. So I was trying to just send it to Peyton. And just say, hey, tell me if this works. And I sent, hey, this is this is Jenna to 300 people. And that's all it said is, hey, this is Jenna. And everybody was like, which Jenna? Which Jenna? I know a lot of Jennas. Who are you? And it was insane. I set 2 listing appointments off of that one.
Yeah, no doubt it.
Which is, and it's because people just I got 10 phone calls from the 300 people that we texted saying that. They said, hey, who is this? And I had to say, hey, I messed up. Sorry, I wasn't trying to send this to you, but here's who we are, and here's what we do. And they said, oh, okay, well, actually, I've got a property to sell. So just do something. It doesn't have to be right. You know, like you can screw up and still get business.
Sometimes it might be better just to screw
Yeah,
up.
and it's more fun because it's like, hey, this is a funny story.
Yeah, dubbed up.
Yeah. So like, again,
And it saves a lot of time.
yeah,
A lot of time.
the mass text and the mass messages are incredible.
No.
They really, really are.
So when I first started, I did a mass, there's a couple different apps I used. I used a Google Doc
Yeah.
and created all of their information. And then I created, I can't remember what app it is, but it sent out the mass text and it changed their names for each one of them. So it was personalized.
Yeah.
And then they filled it out in the Google Doc and I just entered the Google Doc into Command.
Cool.
So I didn't have to individualize
Yeah.
how to do it
You could
all.
have got that Google Doc into the spreadsheet. You could have just imported it into Command.
That's what I did.
Okay, good.
It did it for
I was
me.
in there
No, it totally did it for me.
Yeah. I'm not a technology person, so I don't.
I wasn't either, but I figured it out.
Very good. Very good. Okay, we kind of got off topic here a little bit, but we're talking about talking to people. So what challenges would you say you all have? I know we talked about not getting the contacts added. What are some recent experiences that you have had in the listing appointment or working with a seller arena, if you will? Does anybody have any active listings right now?
Yeah,
Okay,
mine's commercial though.
okay.
What you got?
It's a bar,
Where?
actually, in Everton.
No kidding.
Yeah,
What's the address?
117 North Main, I believe,
Anybody
or
else?
East Main.
Okay, you guys do this
Is
after.
that the Miller's listing?
The
Do
one-
they own that? Do the Millers own that?
No, now there is a family in Aurora. They kind of have a contingency on the bar right now. if their property sells, but theirs isn't getting any hits.
Sorry, what do you
Theirs is
want,
pretty cool.
what do you want listings for?
To hear what experiences you're having with getting those listings. Or who are the people that are talking about selling right now? Is it the people that are wanting to downsize because their kids moved out? Is it the people that are having kids?
Ours are referral partners,
Mm-hmm.
and they are upsizing or just changing the locations of homes,
Okay,
based off of kid count. And then that's been, I think, the last 2 or 3 listings
okay.
have been that exact scenario. And then a couple hits on letters that have been very similar things, or we sold 2 flip homes recently too. So just people who are trying to get out of their pandemic house that they poured too much money into and they're not gonna make any back on.
Okay, got it.
Mine are commercial,
Okay.
minus, Amy and I just bought a house we're gonna flip,
Cool.
so that's awesome. I guess we close Wednesday.
You guys are going to flip it and sell it? Cool,
Yep,
nice.
and then
Have you done a decent amount of that?
she's done a little bit more than me, but I have a 100-year-old home that my husband and I have redone twice. So-
Okay, nice.
So if you want to talk about a flip home, we flipped it and lived
You
in
flipped
it
the
twice
same
now.
house Twice, that's hilarious.
Yeah, so, we're excited. It's a cute little bungalow, and then I have land for sale. Let me see, that's always fun.
Yeah,
So yeah,
Where at?
it's gonna be on Kearney Street.
Got any multifamily?
Well,
hey,
I have a pocket listing for
Talk to me.
multifamily, but I'm
Talk to me.
kind of protecting it, really. It's in Ozark and I'm protecting it really hard right now.
okay, whenever you don't want to protect it, talk to me. You can talk to Justin as well after you. talk.
After you.
Talk to him first.
You guys, after I crunch the numbers
Same.
over an afternoon, then you can talk to other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'll tell you if it's a good deal or not.
I think
That's
the
a good deal
biggest,
for
You
you.
know if it's a good deal.
the biggest thing
Yeah.
I'm running into being a new agent is that I've watched like literally 4 people list
Hmm.
with another agent
Hmm.
and not even talk to me, like people that I thought were like my
Right.
people.
Could happen to anybody.
Have you gone
I'm
back
like,
and
either
asked
do I
them?
suck
Well,
or.
have you gone back and asked them?
like-
Because, I mean, everybody always steers away from the confrontation or from the rejection, but go and ask them, hey, I'm not offended. I just wanted to know what,
I
what,
can't say that.
but you have to say that because you don't
I
want to
know,
be
I'm
the one
just
pointing the
totally-
finger.
I'm totally-
But have you just tried to say, hey, not offended, I'm just trying to learn since I'm new,
Yeah.
why didn't you think of me? And see what they say, because it may completely shock you what they say.
And I was gonna say, I mean, if you're asking that question, coming from the standpoint of like, hey, I need some help, how can I be better? Because I
Yeah,
wanna
what can I
learn and I
learn?
wanna be better, and I totally get that I'm new, so I don't blame you for not using me. But was it because I'm new? Was it because you just don't like me, or was it because you didn't even know?
Well, don't
that?
even ask them all that, just ask them,
Yeah.
can you tell me why you didn't choose me? And then don't give them the preemptive questions to pick one. But just ask them, I'm trying to learn and I'm trying to
Cause I'm like,
better my
I'm
craft.
like feeling defeated. I'm like, dude, I know I'm not
But
stupid.
but you're sitting here feeling defeated and you don't know why. But if you just ask, then you'll maybe still feel defeated, but you'll know why.
I have 2 buyers clients.
Has anybody else dealt with this? What we're
Yes, my
talking about?
grandma used one of my best
Yeah,
friends who's also an agent.
Her
So, my
grandma.
Yeah, like my cousin, like my very
Yeah.
best friend, I was like,
Well, and my best friend too, right?
But
now.
why
So
did your
staying in her
grandma
house.
use your best friend?
Did
you ask?
we haven't talked since,
See,
so.
don't ruin relationships over not asking
That's a whole
friends.
nother thing though,
Don't,
but yeah.
don't like get yourself in a point because you didn't ask. I would always, even if it hurt, and I would even say that, I was a little bit hurt, but I want to learn more than I want to be hurt.
Yeah,
It's a great segue into it.
that's a great line.
I wanna learn more
Right, I'll do
before I feel hurt. And they may tell you stuff that you just didn't think about, such as, I thought you were just too busy and I didn't wanna bother you, honey.
Mhm.
And then you can say,
Mine would've
I'm
been like
never,
the family
never
not
too
wanting
big for you. Well, but then you can say, I'm never, ever too busy for you. And, or if they say, well, you're the black sheep of the family, so we didn't choose you, then you can say, yep, gonna continue to be, so thank you, you just helped me continue to be.
Yeah.
But
be
at
ready
least
for-
you know the answer.
I'll tell
And then you
you,
can,
my best friend, so they're about to list their house and it would be awesome. It's a Neo show and it's like incredible amount of property. It's just beautiful.
Oh,
Yeah, I know. I really wanted to list it for them. And she actually, the first question she asked me was, what kind of a discount would you do?
oh,
Listing
There you
my
go.
and
That's
that-
In Neo
I-
show.
Yes, and I immediately knew right then it wasn't going to happen. And I knew it wasn't gonna happen because I wasn't gonna give a
devalue
discount.
yourself.
And I wasn't, yes. One of my questions back to her was, well, you're a hygienist. Do you discount on your services at your office? And she was like, no. And I said, then why would I?
Well, I always ask people, what discount off of what? What price do you think that I'm at? And if they say 6%, I would say, well, actually, I'm not always 6%.
Right.
Because if I'm going to do extra, I'm gonna do,
Well, and I'm
know.
driving that far
yeah.
and.
I just always ask them a discount off of what? If you want a discount off of 10%,
Mhm.
absolutely.
what was her
I'll give you a
response?
10 discount.
She then kind of tried to steer the question and the whole conversation. And actually, she was going between me and my other best friend, like the three of us, but my other best friend was an agent, but she moved to Cleveland. So she's basically asking us questions in one text together. Well, then my other friend, knowing I'm not really one to engage in the confrontation, she was like, actually, she's so knowledgeable too. She could literally teach one of these classes. She's so good. And she was like, well, actually, Aaron's value and having to drive to your house. And like, she said everything like you said, like, or that any of the teachers have said, and basically was like, you know, the work that she would put into it. And this is her, like, she's really trying to start out and have a successful business. And like, just the way she worded it was incredible. And then my friend who was gonna list, she said, well, actually, her fiance might have talked to somebody else and might have already had an agreement. And then my other friend was like, well, then she can't talk to you at all about listing your house. Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. So it would kind of went back. I kind of like steered out of the conversation.
You need some more data points, because that's not how this normally goes. So
Right.
it gets better.
Yes.
Promise, that's a bad experience.
Yes, and I've had some great experiences too. So it's been hit and miss, but
I'm gonna ask you tomorrow.
I'm still very
I'm
confident.
gonna be
Like,
your kind of.
I'm excited for
Yeah.
I just don't think people think of, like, if you're new, people don't think of you as a real estate agent. They think of you
Right.
as a friend who's
Mhm.
now, like, for me, I just moved back here, so
Right.
it's like everybody thinks of me as
So
guy who was in the Marine Corps and just moved, Marine Corps, but just moved back. And so like, they think of me as that, they don't
Yeah.
think of me as like a,
Like, this is
real
now your
estate agent.
profession.
So-
This is what
so,
you're
yeah.
doing. Yeah.
it's just,
I
I
can
think
definitely
getting it in
do.
people's heads that this is what I do for a
Well,
job, so.
same thing. I get that too, because everybody always calls me and said, well, I have a pharmacy question. And so then I say, I have a real estate question. Because yes, I'll answer all your drug questions and I'll be more than happy to do that. But now I'm gonna ask you some real estate questions. So don't call me for free pharmacy advice and me not say,
That's cool.
hey.
That is good.
Or I get, people that I served with and they're like, hey, and I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
because it goes two ways
I get the
sometimes.
dental questions constantly.
Yes, so then you should say,
15
you should
years.
say,
Yeah, I
well,
have.
since you have questions for me, I have some questions for you.
Yeah.
Don't
And,
be scared to do that.
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, they'll think it's funny.
Yeah.
But I also, like
It is
I
funny.
was telling Corey, I do challenge that when you get the no, figure out a way to turn that into something positive instead of just taking it as a no. Because self-esteem is a lot of what this job is and how you're able to put yourself out there and your mindset and just the way that you carry yourself. And if you let the no's beat you down, you're not gonna make it. You're gonna be one of the, 32,000 people who've dropped out of NAR this year.
Yeah.
And so if you want to be one of 32, take that defeat and just keep taking it. If you want to be one of the top 10%, call them up and say, hey,
That's
just
what
checking
made me
in.
Even more want to do it, because then right after those
I
two
just text
incidents
them, do I have to
happened,
call?
I
You
quit my
can do
full-time
whatever you
job.
want, but you have to do it. I'm holding her
I'll do it.
accountable to checking why.
But
Why
that
she
text
doesn't
is
know.
so easy.
Text them is just fine.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with texting. In my
No.
opinion, you build a closer personal relationship with phone calls.
As do I.
I would
And-
prefer phone calls, but if you're doing this, text is just fine. You're the one making
So
it.
normally I would totally call, like something that wouldn't bother me, but when I'm wanting to like hear it, I'm like, it's easier for somebody to tell you, I think. via
No, when
text.
you're afraid of what they're gonna say.
That
it's
too,
easier for
shut
you to
up, I
text.
wasn't going there.
Well, I am, because I'm gonna challenge you to do better on this and not, I mean, I'm telling you that if you're feeling hurt, I'm gonna throw the
I
Bible
called my
at you,
cousin last week.
pick up the
You
phone.
told me I did, I called her. just
Okay.
didn't
Well,
ask her.
and here's the deal, there's been 30,000 people drop out, but how many people are there still in our area that are licensed agents?
Oh, how many more people have?
Over 2,000,
Yes.
right? Whatever it is. And I
I'm just
think
throwing
that's
that out there just as an example that
statistic. Yeah,
you either
well,
figure out a strategy to win or you figure out a strategy to lose.
and that's where I'm going with this is call and ask them. And here's where you're gonna get telltale signs. It's gonna make this super easy to understand. If there's 80,000 people, 200,000 people, 500,000 people, whatever it is in this area. And there's one realtor for every 10 people or whatever it is. I don't know what the numbers are. But that means the likelihood that somebody knows more than one realtor,
A lot.
very,
Significant.
very likely. And that's where it makes it super easy. It's not that they hate you. Here's the hard part, though. It's that you didn't do your job to talk to them regularly.
Well, see, they knew, but I did. They knew.
But you need to ask them
I'm
so
going
that you can say, you for sure that they knew, because I will tell you, I have had 5 people tell me, I know how incredibly busy you are, so I didn't want to bother you.
Well, that, and if you have the relationship with them, they're gonna know that you're not too busy and that you actually wanna take on more people, because you're asking them, who do you know that I need?
I think,
Right.
yeah, I don't know.
The hard part here is, it's not that they don't like you, it's that you're not doing your job. That puts it really bluntly, and this is not attacking you. You can throw it if you
No,
want
I
to.
know, you're right. No, I can handle it.
It's the same thing.
Thank
I
you.
went and looked up, hey, you should have seen this
Don't be
for,
pat your back.
when I sent that
Right.
Facebook message out, how many people came back and said, hey, we just bought this house last year. And I'd say, great, cool. What's the address? Like, where are you at? That's awesome. So happy for you guys. And genuinely, I am. And they would send me the address and I totaled up $200,000 in commissions that I missed out on.
But now you have their address in the database, and so you're gonna put them back into the funnel, and you're gonna start that all over
Because on
again.
average, they're gonna buy 4 more houses in their
Yep.
lifetime, and as long as I can get.
So
2
you
or
might
3 of
take
them,
defeat today, but you're planning for success tomorrow. So call them up,
It
find out their
sucks.
new address so that you can
It
send them
sucks. It
a
doesn't make it
welcome
easy.
gift.
It doesn't make it easy.
No,
I'm
I'm
sitting here
sorry, because I
thinking,
like cold turkey, like I'm like diving. I've got to sink
Yeah,
or I'm gonna swim. I got 2 options.
That's what I
You're
did.
gonna swim,
Quit my
just keep
job.
swimming.
some people
Yeah.
sink before they swim. It's not comfortable though. Don't do it.
Well, I started in Branson
Mhm.
and I think it kind of,
Yeah.
what am I trying to say? Like, it just took me longer to get started.
Mhm.
And so now that I've been here since May, like it's total different ballgame,
Yeah,
total different ballgame.
yeah. This is a mindset thing, and make yourself do the stuff you need to do. As like Cook says, just do the thing. Yeah, really do the thing.
You told me to shut
So, okay, what else? I feel like we're at the 2-hour mark.
It's too long.
I have.
Do not call this, don't call people on this. You guys probably haven't heard that before. I engage every conversation in the spirit of contribution and people are happy to be in a relationship with me. I will share this. We went to a training with James Shaw in Kansas City and he had, I think it was either James or it was Jason Abrams. I can't remember which one. They have your own club. The relationships that you have, think of it as a club. And we're gonna go back and kind of beat a dead horse and be painful here, but is
I mean, it's
my
not- I'm not-
club, is my club worth being in? Do I provide enough value as a person for others to want to be in my club over my competition's club? Right? Even if it's your best friend, even if my best friend is right here, their club, what do they provide? What do I provide? I want my club to be better because I want people, they can only join one club. They are use you or they don't.
Right.
Be the club that provides the most value to people in whatever way that can be. knowledge included, events included. Whatever it is, be the person that has the biggest club and make sure that your club is worth joining. Are you providing enough value outside of just a real estate transaction? Role model role play. Have you guys been doing this?
Mhm.
You want to do it right now? That was a pretty quick answer.
No, we really haven't. I just knew, because everybody asks, every
Okay.
class, they're like, hey, do you role play?
So is this, have I been pretty on par with what everybody else has done?
Can we have your phone number?
Absolutely.
Oh, we forgot to make you write it on the board.
Anybody have
Sorry about that.
anybody have an iPhone in here?
No,
I have your phone number.
Turn on your AirDrop.
I don't know how to do that.
Turn on your AirDrop.
You don't have an iPhone?
I do have an iPhone.
Everybody know how to turn on their AirDrop?
Okay, I'll do it now. That's supposed to be a 3. I don't know what that actually is though.
I've got a sweet profile photo for him in my phone too.
Oh, I'll turn mine on if that's the
You
case.
don't wanna-
I want to see what you have. I think it's on.
Trey, how are you winning
Mine was on building contacts.
listings right now?
Honestly, my stuff's all database and Sphere
Yeah.
essentially, other than we're doing letters as well. It's just being the number one person, being the club that everybody wants to be a part of. What value can I provide to other people's lives? And primarily that is education on the real estate process or opportunities to be involved in other things. We started a type 1 diabetic foundation a couple months ago. We're having a golf tournament for that this Friday. We're creating those personal relationships with people to go do that. I've got the Ducks Unlimited stuff. I've got the golfer stuff. Just being there essentially and being around and being social and talking to those people and continuing to have really good, strong, intentional relationships that come from those intentional conversations of what's going on in your world. Tell me about it.
Ducks Unlimited.
Me and a couple guys restarted the Springfield chapter a few years ago. This is our 6th year and this is the 50th anniversary since the Springfield chapter got started and since we restarted the Springfield chapter, we're kind of the guys that are handling everything. So I was the area chairman for the first 2 or 3 years, 2 years, I think it was. So we can get you plugged in there if you want to.
What is it?
I've been duck hunting twice. and
Oh,
both
Kate,
were
my
miserable
son would be
experiences,
all
'cause I
Send him my number if he wants to get
not
in
enough
on it.
gear for that cold weather.
Yeah, we talked about
My boys are
that. I
all over
don't
that stuff.
really, yeah, we're weirdos like that, but I don't really do a ton with it anymore. I show up and I'm a volunteer, but I'd helped start the Springfield chapter
All that area
Back
knows
up.
about it.
essentially, so we're always looking for volunteers.
He's
I
kind of ate up with that stuff.
can get him set up with the right people. So anyway, there's a perfect example. How can we connect people to different things? And we can connect people to different things by knowing the people that are involved in different things. So I'm not as involved in Ducks Unlimited anymore, but I can get you kind of set up with the people who can. That kind of deal. How am I winning with sellers? I'm continuing to educate, I would say, as well, is most people, they hear about something, they want to do something, but they don't do it because lack of information. I heard this one at the James Shaw training as well, which is everybody gets their information from news right now, right? And the big media. Beat them to it. Do not give your people the opportunity to be educated by someone else that does not have their best interest in mind. And I think when I heard that, that was super powerful for me because I have to be the education. I have to be the resource. And if I control the education and the resources, then I can give everybody the actual correct information versus letting them hear all of the big media outlets saying the world's on fire and everything's burning and don't do anything because you're going to be wrong.
So do you come at that from just a buying, selling standpoint or an investing standpoint? What?
All of it,
All of it.
as much as you possibly can. Figure out the person that you're talking to and then talk to what they're interested in,
Social media or emails?
both phone conversations.
Gotcha.
All of it, yeah. I haven't been as good at it with social media, but going on there, essentially, the way that I like to think of it is posting posts that create comments, that make people want to comment, right? So we're creating a thread that people want to comment on and want to be engaged in. It's not, who do you know that wants to buy a house? Ask them a question. People want to talk if they are asked something about their opinion, or they want to be heard, right? We as humans want to be heard. We want to give our value to others. So how can we give others the opportunity to give their value? So that's an easy way to say this, but if I go on there, the last one I posted was, how do I know when to trade my truck in and get a new one? How far should I drive that? Had 20 or 25 comments or something like that. That's 10, 12 people. That's easy, instant communication, an easy conversation for me to have and an easy connection point for me to have with somebody. Go ask people their opinion about something. That's another great way to connect with them too. Say, hey, give me your opinion on this. Why did you think that other person was better than me for the job to sell your house? That's an opinion piece. It's kind of a joke a little bit, but
Yeah.
hey, what do you think I should do here? How should I do this? Get other people's opinions and they'll open up like a book as soon as you start asking them stuff about them versus just telling them the stuff that you want to tell them.
Do you send out
Do you use
like
me to cut your hair? Yes or no?
for as
Would you
far as
use me
like
to be yours or would
sending
you-
out news, like you said
Do a whole
you do,
week?
is that in the form of
Thank you. Yes or no?
a mass thing or is that towards certain people? Do you use smart plans? Are you?
So I'm a lot less operational than you guys are. I
Yeah.
can tell you that. We are doing newsletters and we are doing neighborhood nurtures when it comes to smart plans. So
Golden letters?
Huh?
Golden letters?
Newsletters.
I thought you also do those.
I
Golden.
am doing those as well. Newsletters, this is just for the educational piece. How are we educating people? I am doing golden letters as well, but for the educational piece, we're sending out mass newsletters and we're doing the neighborhood nurture for people on that smart plan.
Do you see anybody coming? Do you see any positive ROI on the newsletters?
On the newsletters or the golden letters?
Newsletters.
It's a point of contact.
Yeah.
No, it's hard to track, but it's going to all of the people. And we just started really using command this year. So, and with that being said, like 2 months ago, because that's when Peyton started and I didn't do anything with it before then. So no, to answer your question shortly, no, there's no way for me to track our ROI on that because it's all people that we know already.
Gotcha.
So, yeah. It's just a point of communication. It makes it easy. It's one more thought in somebody's brain. Is it going to change somebody's life? No, probably not, but it's one more thought in somebody's brain of you. Trey sent me that. Trey said there's X amount of houses on the market. Trey said there was X amount of new contracts. It's one more blip on the radar from you. Is all that it is. Now, if you've got somebody that is a B or C seller, it makes it very, very easy to call them and say, hey, did you see that market update I sent you the other day? Here's what's going on. I just want to make sure you're getting that. We have some issues with our emails. So, easy conversation starter. Yeah. Okay. What other thoughts do you guys have?
Finding your investment deals.
eBay. Honestly, other agents,
Yeah.
really, to be real with you. We've built our whole portfolio of investment properties essentially off of other agents. What deals do they have that they do not want to take on right now? What off-market properties do they have that needs a lot of work and would the sellers consider selling it without doing any work to it? Like I said, we're doing golden letters right now. We've got one of our best houses that we picked up was a friend shared one of their friends' posts on Facebook that they were selling their house for sale by owner. And I got on there and saw that it was like 1,700 square feet. And they wanted 130 for it or something like that. And I was like, hold on, let's. First I went in, this was kind of before my mindset changed, but I was like, hey, I can list this for you. They're like, no, we just want to sell it for this amount. And I was like, okay, I want to buy this from you. And I said, okay, great, because it should have been listed for 160 or 170. Like, no, we
Is that
don't
the house
sell it
you
now.
we saw?
No, different one. That one, that similar kind of story with that one is, hey, we want to sell our house, great, I'll come tell you what it's worth. And here's what I would buy it for. And they said, okay, we'll sell it to you because we want easy. We don't want to deal with the hassle. Even after I'd laid out exactly what the hassle was for them. I said, here's what it is. Here's what listing it takes. Here's the listing pictures. Here's what the process takes to go through the showings.
Are you buying cash?
Mm-mm. No, we finance everything. So the numbers have to really, really work.
You finance everything? You've never bought a house cash?
We have. We got the one, I mean, line of credit, stuff like that. But it's never been like, we have all the cash here right now, unless we've partnered with people. So, but all of our stuff primarily has been long-term holds, so it's all finance, stuff like that.
You wanna buy my duplex? I just listed it like Thursday,
Maybe.
2,800 square feet,
Yeah.
2-bedroom upstairs, 2-bedroom downstairs, full kitchen upstairs, full kitchen downstairs, living rooms on both floors,
Show me the info.
65 grand.
That sounds like that is a
2
tear down.
electrical units, 2 different gas units.
It sounds like it needs to be torn down. If it's 65 grand, probably, right?
You'll see.
Maybe a good opportunity.
Mhm.
Yeah. Probably not.
You'll flip it.
Yeah. It's all, yeah, I mean, that right there. So to answer your original question, how do you find investment deals? Talk
Yeah.
about it. It's the same thing as selling houses. Go lead generate for them, go talk to people about them. And as soon as you start talking to people about them, the universe conspires in your favor and it will bring them to you. You gotta put in the effort to communicate that you want it.
Right.
Anybody get that reference from The Alchemist? Everybody ever read The Alchemist? Read The Alchemist if you haven't read it before. It's a good one. Go create what you want. Cool. Okay, what else you guys got for me? Nothing? Okay,
It was good.
cool. Did I make it totally confusing?
No,
Then I didn't do my job.
really?
I'm just
Makes me think more.
Yeah. Very cool. Okay. Yeah, my phone number. Again, if you guys ever have any questions, call me or text me. Happy to help in whatever way that we can. So go add your contacts. Go get 10 contacts added today. We do that.
Yes.
We have enough time for it. Do you go pull them from Facebook? We do that. That's a great one. Again, same thing there. We talked about Facebook messages.
Yeah.
Hey, we're getting our system switched over to something new. We're starting something new. I just wanted to make sure that I had all your info. You send me your email address and your physical.
I just say I'm updating my contacts information, Sam. And I sent out a mass, I'm updating my contacts.
Yeah.
I'd love to add you. Can you send me your information?
I never get any interaction with those things.
Oh my gosh, I had I would say 90%.
With Facebook
That I sent out.
messages.
Yeah, but
Those
part
are
of that is probably your
Do you
community
just,
that you've
where
been
do
in.
you
Yeah.
put your
So
contact?
I'm not-
That's the same thing. If I send out that, do you think
Yeah,
all
I
my,
just type it out. in
No,
Google Docs, so I've
not to
got-
that
I've got
community, if I
Google
send it out
Docs
to like
with
my pharmacist
Facebook
community, oh, they're very
messages.
exact people.
On
They're
my
gonna give
phone,
you their
and
information.
notes,
And I was their boss at
text
once, so they're
message
gonna be like,
templates.
yes, ma'am,
Yeah.
right now.
and
But if
you
I
can
send it
share
to my
notes,
military
too.
buddies,
So.
my army buddies, and my
when
air
I was
force
on a
buddies,
team,
you know
I
what they're
shared
gonna
my
do?
notes, And then I shared.
no.
So you know which emoji they're gonna.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna have to start it by, do you remember that
Tammy,
time?
if you can hear me online, Tammy, thank you for staying with us the whole time. If you need
Since you
anything,
learn so much on it.
my number is behind me on the
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah, I liked.
417-773-4023.
Looking back.
Save it, let me know what I can help with. I'm gonna get this now.
But you have to know what you know, and
Yes.
that's how you learn is under the
Two boys and two
trial
girls.
and error.
I just got home from being on AJ's.
I know.
Oh my God. I'm so exhausted. I showed 10 properties this weekend.
Holy.
From golf.
That's
Since Hayfire.
other thing is a handicap.
Oh, I know.
Bowling.
Did you like do the 4 and then go back and?
I mean,
I don't
And
know. I guess I didn't, I guess I
I don't
didn't know
play
that was
golf
a
like
thing
it.
for bowling too.
They sent me 6.